up in the sky, the birds, the planes.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
So I was thinking, I kind of missed the title Superman Legacy for several reasons. I feel like that word was chosen for something when he was creating that script. And, I've said this before, that if I was rebooting Superman from the very beginning, that just using the title Superman is what I would do. Because we all know it had never been used before, just we had Superman the movie. But the fact that this isn't a clean, origin film, I don't know how I feel like with that being the title. Even Batman is Batman, and then we had the Batman. So, it's not like we're trying to redo things. But I was thinking more on the legacy, and with all the set photos and everything, I really feel like the film is trying to have its own identity. But at the same time, so many parts of the costume and the casting look like their comic book counterparts. The designs, the colors, the way they've really kind of made Lois in some of the photos look more like the animated series Lois. I feel like the legacy is built into the production and the status. And I'm really hoping that this Superman, it comes out very much more. I hope that David's Superman's more along the lines of, say, Tyler's Superman, where it feels like a nice blend of the character from the different versions. But I also just like being able to say Superman Legacy, the film, instead of just Superman film. Because it just, or when I'm, hashtagging things online, Superman, referring to the film compared to just referring to the character. But I don't know, Brian had pitched a long time ago, and we joke about it and still hope that the legacy had been built in, that maybe we would have got the birth of John Kent. But I think legacy also is what the character leaves, or what the character is and leaves behind. But with the idea of legacy in mind, I said, one thing I wish that we would have seen in this film is a bunch of cameos, even in one scene or spread out the movie, of every Superman actor. It would be, I've always thought there'd be a great scene to have of the police show up for something, and the little minor police parts are played by different actors that have played Superman. So we would have Tom Welling, Dean Cain, Brandon Routh. I would have John Newton if he would do it, Gerard Christopher, and then, see if you get Tyler in there for something, maybe as a reporter or something. And then if you could get Henry Cavill and something, or somehow reference him in the film, would be amazing. Or if you could even get Tim Daly and George Newbern, who have done it for so long in the animation that their voices are, so prominent. If there was something where you got a phone call from the president, we don't actually ever see the president, we just get him on the voice, and the voice is George Newbern or Tim Daly. And that plays legacy to the character.
That's what I got for 65.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the man of tomorrow. And with me today, next to me, is Solomon.
What's up, guys? I'm excited to be on this podcast.
Yeah, and there's a special reason why Solomon is here today. Yeah. And also with us, coming at us from way downtown in Toledo.
Toledo.
Superman Red James. Woo, James. James Cole.
Woo. Woo. How's it going?
Good. Yeah. Oh, man, what a week.
Oh, you're telling me.
So we're going to get started here, and we got some stuff to go over, a lot of news, but we'll try to get through this. This episode's coming out a little bit later because, as you might not know, I'm on call for work, and so that's kind of throwing some things off. But let's start. Just first of all, some quick announcements. One, I'd like to show this right here. Boom. The Requel Movie Pitch Podcast got some new art, new logos. You can find it here on our $1 Patreon, as well as some of it filters in on my personal YouTube. So just look for Jonathan, Tyler, Patrick for that. And coming up here soon, James Cole will be launching his own podcast special on our Patreon. and I will let James talk about that for a quick moment.
Oh man, you dropped this on me. No, yeah, the gore report. I love horror movies. I always have. You know, one of my earliest memories is literally Nightmare on Elm Street 5, where Freddy holds the chick up out of the water in the cooling tower. Um, thank my aunt for that one.
Thanks,
But
James Zant.
yeah, right.
Thanks.
So yeah, the gore report. We're gonna talk horror movies. We're gonna talk a one horror movie at a time. In-depth spoilers, just reviewing it, having a good time, talking about movies we enjoy, movies we haven't seen yet. Just reviewing them, going beat by beat, and just talking about them, having a good old time. The first episode is going to drop in September, and it's going to be for Friday the 13th. So you can guess what movie we're going to start with.
So that's part
One
of
of
our
my favorites.
our $1 Patreon. You'll get the gore report, more requel, and the supernatural report, which has more episodes coming. We just dropped one the other day as James and I go back through the TV show Supernatural. But let's see here. Anybody out there play the game Roblox? Because look, the kids got me playing Roblox, and of course, I had to make my Roblox avatar Superman. Best 99 cents I ever spent right there.
Well worth it.
So I am on Roblox as Superman here. Anybody who plays, hit me up with a message. Okay, what else we got?
I've
let's
never
see.
played, but my kids have played it for years, and a lot of people play that for a lot of different games.
Yeah, the kids, we've been having family sessions, but so Harley Quinn season 5 will release before the end of 2024. So that just seems like they're really trying to get out maybe a lot of the other stuff that's not related to James Gunn's universe. This is kind of sad. The Arkham series is no longer moving forward at Max. This kind of sucks because I really like the idea of this Arkham series. I thought like 6 episodes kind of just exploring the world of Arkham Asylum through Matt Reeves, the Batman, would have been really interesting. And I don't know why you would cancel that. It just really feels like Max isn't really pushing forward much of their DC stuff, I guess. I don't know, but that was kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept for a show, and the world, it's still very young, very new. It'd be interesting to see how some of those characters were adapted. I guess. I mean, heck, the most Arkham Asylum we got like inside was like season 2 of Gotham.
Yeah, and then it became kind of a joke too, like with the striped pajamas. And though I did see a guy brought to court today who was wearing red and white striped quote unquote prison pajamas. So that was interesting. But
that is interesting.
The Penguin premieres September 8th on Max.
I just saw something today saying that it was going to be September 19th.
Well, we will find out, won't we?
Yeah.
I guess we can say September.
If it's not there, then it.
I'm gonna. I mean, while you talk, I'm gonna kind of try and see what try and find something, but.
And then over here we got a little documentary that's coming out from Alex Ross called The Legend of Kingdom Come.
Ooh.
So that'll be out this fall somehow. It has a Kickstarter, and Alex Ross was promoting that. So that's going to be cool. Plug for us. Join us every Saturday morning here to watch at 9 a.m. Eastern, Superman the Animated Series.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the next episode, so you better watch out. I'm on the next episode.
Thanks for the warning, Solo.
Yep. And also, guys, for my next podcast review, for my next podcast episode, I'll be doing I'll be playing Roblox. I'm not telling you what game it is yet, but I'm gonna tell you I'll be playing Roblox. I hope you guys see that.
Yep. And then in other news, we got our trailer for Kite Man. Hell yeah.
What?
Series. So that looks like fun. And that'll be out like next week, the 18th of July.
The 18th, yes. Yes, it starts on July 18th.
So good old Kite Man.
Mm-hmm.
James's favorite. James is Kite Man.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so here's some bull crap. All right. Zack Snyder posted that he was going to basically teasing that Zack Snyder's Justice League was coming to theaters. It would be, and it ended up being just they're screening it in Los Angeles at the Phoenix Theater or whatever. And I'm just like, that's not really coming to theaters, man. That's like coming to theaters is like a limited release, a special like engagement that everybody has a chance to go to. I mean, we've had all these movies that have recently come back to theaters. The Spider-Man movies came back to theaters without anyone noticing. Episode 1 was back in theaters for a little bit. And you're going to tease us like that? Like it's going to be like this, like even like a Fathom event type thing. And it was just like a screening in California. I'm like, come on, dude. That's just something special you throw up on the weekend. That's, later he put Rebel Moon was going to be the same thing. And I'm like, don't tease the Justice League like that. Like me and James were all hyped that maybe there'd be some showings. No.
Oh yeah. I was like, all right, if when this hits around here, like that's 5 hours out of my day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
But so that was yeah. So all right. So the next biggest news is
the thing I got here is the Penguin premiering on September 8th or the 19th? A Hollywood Reporter article and a Prime Video press release retracted those dates. A Max representative declined to comment on the release date and can only confirm September at this time.
Well, September. Here we go. But what we got were some set photos from Cleveland. Thank you, Cleveland. Of what's going on with filming of Superman. And we got our first looks at Guy Gardner. And here we go. So here we go. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner costume. And Hawk Girl.
Oh, so we're having introduced Guy Gardner. Why Guy Gardner? Why does it have to be Guy Gardner? Of any Green Lantern, it's Guy Gardner.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. One, I think the costume designing, because here's the thing. You look at Mr. Terrific, he looks awesome. He looks like the comics. But then when you look at Gardner here and Hawk Girl, they look like they're all a team. Their costumes are similar to each other. They're all black, white with one color. Hers is that golden orange. His Terrific's is red and Guy Gardner's green. And if you look at their chest, they all have the Maxwell Lord tech symbol. So it looks like there's some sort of a team working, maybe funded by Maxwell Lord. So that's going to play into the story. I suspect that Gardner's going to have some sort of glow green around him. But my concern is the costuming style looks very too much like Guardians. It also looks a lot like Superman's costuming style too. And my other thing is if Maxwell Lord is funding them, okay, like what's Mr. Terrific's role? Like, are they the Terrifics? Like, are they his thing? But then, he's supposed to be rich too with a company. But if Maxwell Lord is funding them, like, what's up?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the creation of the Terrifics? Like, I got a lot of questions. Okay. I hope that it's not Guy Gardner's final suit or we'll see more. but I just expected more to look more Green Lantern-y. I mean, this is the next time we'll see a Green Lantern really on the big screen after the Ryan Reynolds film. And like I said, these suits look like they're a team. They're matching, is what they are. And
Yeah, the only thing that's saving them just a little bit is the fact that they look like a team. Um, that's the only thing as to why they would look so similar. And I the beyond Mr. Terrific, because that's what his costuming looks like. Hawk Girl looks nothing like her comic book character. And if you compare that to the last Hawk character we had on the big screen, this is a huge step down.
yes,
Aldous Hodge looked amazing in Black Adam. Lots of here or there with people's enjoyment of that movie and stuff. But I mean, the costuming was amazing. And Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl, they look like they're in CW costumes. I know we're gonna see posts. There's gonna be a lot of posts and stuff here, and there's minor gripes that we had with the Superman suit, but overall, I think we're generally okay with it because we know that there's going to be changes and there's different suits for different reasons. But yeah, these suits, they really like hit the brakes on the hype on my hype for this production at this moment.
they
But it's not gonna kill it. But still,
but it's just like so far everything James has presented us with has been very spot on and classic. And we've talked about this, and I've even talked about how the costume, I really wish the title Legacy had still stayed, because I feel like the costume of Superman calls out the legacy of the character with the different elements looking of different parts of the character's history. But then we get to this, and I'm just like, what? And then we can suspect that right here, the dude in blue is probably Metamorpho. Somebody, acting stand-in for Metamorpho here. And of course, that would be Hot Girl flying and Terrific doing his thing. A lot of people speculating that this is part of the climax of the film. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this is earlier in the film. Maybe even part of the opening action sequence. And that this setup here, these costumes and everything, are part of something that presents itself at the beginning. So I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, the Lord Tech part definitely is playing into.
so it's very close to the Lord Tech, but it also almost looks like a JL. So is it Lord Tech, or is this like Justice League International?
See, I would say it's Lord Tech. It looks just like the Lord Tech, like you can see in this photo. Because I'm like, if it was Justice League International,
I guess the embroidery could.
Because I'm saying if you're doing Justice League International, then you make the symbol something completely where it doesn't look like something else that you created for the movie. That's just confusing.
Yeah, I just see the up and down, from the whole thing on the symbol, and there's subtle differences to it, but it's not exact.
So I'm just saying, like,
I've seen that. I've seen the comparison, and they're not exact. They're just very similar.
I'm just saying, like, it's weird to me that Maxwell Lord is bankrolling heroes, and the heroes that he's bankrolling is a Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, who's supposed to be his own, person. But yeah, we complained about the costume being all CG when we got Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. We didn't get a Green Lantern in Justice League. a human Green Lantern. I'll say that. And we had Green Lantern teased in the Arrowverse. Nothing like a glowing box. And then we had our 1997 failed Justice League pilot with Green Lantern that looks the most Green Lantern-y. So,
yeah, I mean, people complained about the Hal Jordan costume back in 2011. I thought it looked Green Lantern projected from the ring, kind of that type of thing. But also in the comics, they all have different styles reflecting their own personality, kind of a thing. So to kind of make it uniform was a little bit of a complaint there. I don't think it's the worst thing, but I also didn't think it's great. There were some aspects about it that I did like.
I just don't think the CG wasn't there yet.
Yeah, it just wasn't
Boom.
there yet.
The Justice League TV series, where if you look at it, you have the Atom, why? Fire and Ice, why? Flash, go. Martian Manhunter, all right. Green Lantern, cool. And that's
Right.
it's Hal Jordan, but he's an amalgam Hal Jordan. So
He looks like a turquoise lantern. Turquoise lantern.
the turquoise lantern.
The newest lantern.
But, all right.
Yeah, I mean, that suit's not very inspiring of Green Lantern. Hopefully when they do Green Lantern, it'll be more and better. And we've all seen the images of what Jon Stewart was going to look like, and that was a completely CGI rendered suit.
Because now the tech is there
in a
now.
Driveway.
Yeah, but the tech is there now. That's what I'm saying. Like for the full CGI suit, like we have the technology now. Compared to when Green Lantern the film came out.
For sure.
Especially the mask. That was the worst part. But all right, that's all the news I got. Let's talk My Adventures with Superman, Season 2, Episode 8, Death of Clark Kent. Lois and Jimmy confront Kara and make a plan to rescue Clark. Meanwhile, Brainiac delves into Superman's mind to figure out what makes him tick and how to tear him apart. Where's my handy dandy notebook?
We are looking for Blue's Clues.
All right. Let's get it going here. So we learned that Brainiac in this has the Black Mercy, but in this it's tech, is what he calls it. It's technological, the Black Mercy. And he sends Clark into a status where he's in his mind. And you find out that Kandor is falling apart. And we have some great... Just the interaction between Jimmy and Kara is classic. It's precious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
I have great admiration for you as leader of your planet.
Lois is like, what did you tell her? We'll talk later. But what Brainiac, we see he has the ability to change the memories that Clark has, and he just keeps twisting them on him. This Brainiac is like intense.
He's mean. Like Brainiac is cold and calculated and everything before. But this one is mean. Sorry, go ahead, Solo.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But what I was saying is this Brainiac is kind of... I mean, I like the robot part. But here's the thing about the robot Brainiac. Do we ever get to see the real Brainiac, or is that the real Brainiac? Like, that's
it's
the
a
whole point.
That is an interesting, like what we know about from the comics of Brainiac, how a lot of times the real Brainiac hides somewhere and sends out basically versions of himself. So that's a good thought, Solomon.
Right. He does mention how he is a and that's a work shirt. He's he says that he's a repository for everything that was Kryptonian and supposed to help further the Empire. And after Krypton was destroyed, he's all that's left of the Kryptonian Empire. That so the thing that would be really cool in kind of in my opinion in with this version of Brainiac is that I think what would be really cool is because how he's able to in this episode take over the body of Clark and how he was controlling Kara in the past is if they're able, because of course they're going to be able to, and this is just because it's Superman. Of course they're going to be able to stop him. They're going to be able to break free of his control. But Brainiac always leaves a piece of himself behind. He always transfers his consciousness, this or that. What would be really cool is if he does come across like Kolu, this place of scientific hierarchy of scientific, what's the word I'm looking for? But he takes control over like Vril Drox on Kolu and becomes Brainiac that way to kind of bring more of a more accurate version, and some place for him to go, because in this he does speak about how his machine body is starting to break down. So like I think his main body is something that he needs to replace, and that's why he's trying to take over Clark.
It makes sense.
So
I think one of the most intense parts of this whole episode is Clark is fighting back and he thinks he breaks free, but it's like the last ditch effort of Brainiac to control Clark. And he's like, I'm home, I'm free. And then he's in a cornfield, but he's on Krypton. You see him running, and there's Lara, Jor-El, Zor-El, and Kara.
Young Kara, and then Clark gets younger as he runs into their embrace.
And I was like, oh, he thinks he's free, and then we see Brainiac completely take over Clark's body.
Which the way the suit changed was awesome, because I was a fan of the Kryptonian technology, the Kryptonian suit, the way it covers him. So with this being very much like that, Brainiac changing it to match what he wants it to look like, I think was really awesome.
So what do you think about the episode, Solomon?
Wait, you just kind of got me fury.
Okay.
What if Brainiac took over a robot, and that's how he got his robot body? What if he took over, like... Did I give you names of robots that was in the Superman Bad Guys? It's like Alien.
Well, you have Metallo. That's not Alien. Kryptonian robots, you have Kelix. That'd be interesting. Like, I'm just wondering if this, like, we have 2 episodes left, and with next episode, the way this one ends, I don't think they're gonna, like, they could possibly defeat Brainiac in the next episode and then come back to Earth and deal with Waller, or like the next episode could be them fighting Brainiac and then coming back to Earth, and the cliffhanger is Waller and them are on Earth waiting for Superman.
In my opinion, if we're going to speculate about what these last 2 episodes are, so when we end this episode, Lois has that tech. She saw the tech and she took it, and she said she's going in to save Clark, and she applies it to her own head so she can, mind meld with Clark and try and free him from Brainiac's control. So what we got to see in this episode was as Brainiac was fighting and trying to control Clark inside of his mind, he was also on the outside in a physical body fighting Kara.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like we can have both of those. I think we can have Brainiac take Clark's body and go to Earth and do that, try to further justify Waller and Lex's agenda against him, while Lois is inside of the mine trying to free him there. So we've got Superman on Earth, fulfilling their
Fears.
doomsday property, their prophecy, their fears on Earth, and Lois freeing him from Brainiac's control inside of his mind. And then the final episode, I think, Superman and Kara have to fight back against Brainiac and others to protect Earth. I kind of feel like that might be the route we take in the next 2 episodes.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's not a bad idea. So it's kind of sad we only got 2 episodes left. Can't believe it. And I also want to point out that, like, as of this recording, like, we just passed the other day was the 1-year anniversary of My Adventures debuting, because it debuted in July of last year. But it was a great episode.
Absolutely a great episode. This is a great show. The adaptation, the kids, a bunch of the kids here, our kids, they like anime. We like anime. That was a thing for Jamie. That's a thing for me growing up. We like different kinds of anime and stuff. And the kids have grown up watching like One Piece and My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball, and Jimmy's watching Demon Slayer right now. So, and they've seen it and they're like, "Oh, that's a Superman anime. I want to watch that." So, got a few more kids here going to be watching some My Adventures with Superman.
Speaking of anime, we didn't touch on, because I watched the trailer, but it was in Japanese. We got a teaser trailer for Batman Ninja versus the Yakuza.
The Yakuza League.
Yeah. And then that Suicide Squad anime has dropped on Max as well.
Yeah, I started watching that, but I got pulled away. So I got to get back into it.
So James will have our update on that. So, all right. And the last part, and the main reason Solomon is here.
Yes.
We're going to discuss Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
So who else? So who else do I want to talk Godzilla with but my man Solomon?
Yeah, I love Godzilla. You guys know Godzilla is my favorite fan. It's like Superman did that.
Exactly. One day Solomon will have the Godzilla cave in his home.
Or Kingdom, or Godzilla Kingdom. Like pictures of Godzilla. Like you can see every single Godzilla toy shirt hanging up.
Jimmy loves Godzilla too. Like, he is all about kaijus and stuff.
Yes.
Like, he is telling me everything. He's going into
let me meet him.
Into their stats, the height, the weight, the power levels, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I know there's something that helps me with that stuff. It's called like the Monarch app. I think you guys should go check it out.
Nice.
It's for like iPhones and iPads and stuff like that, mobile devices. So, like, to learn the Titans, getting to learn the Titans.
Awesome. So did you read all of this, Solo?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Twice.
yeah.
Twice. Nice.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the trade
Twice.
for Jimmy when it comes.
So what we did was I bought it for him as it came out, and then we reread issues 1, 2. We read them as a family because we read them as like doing the character voices, and then 3, 4, 5 we read silently again, and then 6 and 7 we read together. But to give everyone a big description here, GodZilla, this book, was the cataclysmic crossover event of the year is here as DC Universe classes with Legendary's Monsterverse in Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Clark Kent is enjoying a night off with a very important dinner plan with his girlfriend Lois Lane when the entire city shudders under the weight of the monstrous Godzilla, who emerges from the bay. What started as a routine clash between the Justice League and the Legion of Doom takes a dangerous turn when the wall between worlds is breached, with Godzilla, Kong, and the Monsterverse emerging on DC's Earth. What ensues was a brawl of unprecedented scale and destruction from acclaimed writer Brian Bucasalio and best-selling artist Christian Deuce. All right. So the first thing that we kind of need to point out here, okay, is that Solomon loves Godzilla.
Like we can say that.
So when this was first announced, Solomon lost his mind.
Yeah, like there's a trailer that came up from it. I'm like, I got so excited.
And this has been the main comic book that I have bought since we talked about here, like about going to just reading on the app and everything. The only books I was buying from the shop was this for him.
Nice.
But one of the first things to notice is this isn't in our DC main continuity. So this is some other Earth in the DC world, because part of the point, this is definitely an Elseworlds tale, because part of what's going on in this book is Clark proposing to Lois. So this exists on some other Earth. So it's not like it fell into continuity. And that, in one breath, kind of bums me out. But another breath, I'm like, okay, that's cool. It makes it its own thing, contained story. So we don't have to deal with any kind of issues going on with the other stories.
Right. Well, just for the fact that these Titans come to Earth, like they cause massive amounts of destruction. You know, they evacuate. They're working on evacuating Metropolis. Godzilla. I mean, we know when Godzilla comes into a populated area, like it's just mass destruction.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, like in the first Godzilla movie that came out in 2014. I mean, 2014, we could see that Godzilla caused a major destruction upon New York City. Like, it's crazy.
So I find the one thing about this book is I found it, once again, an over convoluted explanation for something.
What's that?
So we have Luthor breaking into the Fortress of Solitude to steal the Mother Box and steal Orion's sled. And they use
they call it.
And while there, Toyman steals the Dreamstone. So they're battling with the Justice League that's there, which is Supergirl, Green Lantern, Flash. And the Mother Box basically goes off and sends them to the world where the Monsterverse is. And then Toyman uses the Dreamstone to wish the monsters and them all back to Earth. So then they're there because of the Dreamstone, not the Mother Box.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just like, that just feels...
Yeah, but with the Mother Box, you can't just take them all because they exist all over the planet. You know, I mean, Godzilla X Kong, Tiamat exists in his own little place inside the Arctic. You know, we know Kong has Skull Island.
And Solomon proposed, like, when does this take place in the Monsterverse? Because we know it's not. Would it be after Godzilla Kong? But even though Mechagodzilla isn't completely destroyed, so
here's my theory.
It would.
I believe it takes place in Godzilla X Kong and versus Kong, but when they transport to the other like DC dimension,
Mm-hmm.
that makes them that makes them fight Mechagodzilla again, so they already know what to do. Kind of. I don't know. That's my theory.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. When we first meet Mechagodzilla, is it broken and then Lex fixes it,
No.
or is it working?
It like he found something like in the sand. It's like the faint.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is kind of a beacon that draws Godzilla and Kong to it in Godzilla versus Kong
Mhm.
when they create Mechagodzilla. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it like, but also like they transport all the Titans off of Earth,
Mhm.
off of that Earth for a short period of time. That would be a huge deal to Monarch and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
I was about to say we
so
didn't get to see like the other Earth who all of a sudden like all their Titans are gone.
yeah, Skull Island completely disappeared.
Mhm.
Skull Island, the entire island came to the DC universe. So I mean, trying to make sure they fit into both universes and both continuities, I think is a little is going to be a stretch trying to figure that out exactly,
Mhm.
and to see if it would fit. When they return, do they return at in the instant they left?
That's what I
So it
think
was like
because you're
they
using
never left.
the Dreamstone, so it would put them back like that. So the first book ends with Godzilla appearing and Superman flying to see Godzilla. It has an awesome artwork shot.
Yeah, I lost my mind when I saw that. And right now, by the way, we are on the second book.
So the second book is, the big part of Superman battling Godzilla, and I think we learn later that basically Godzilla is supposed to represent a natural order to things with the Titans, but he comes on Earth with metahumans, so he goes after Superman being the most powerful metahuman for him to take down to preserve everything.
Right.
I think I know why. I think he does that because he doesn't know him, or like he just sees him and like Godzilla balanced thing. Godzilla balanced the Earth. Like he's on the balance, and when that balance goes like up to evil or up to good, like he needs to tone it down. I think he went all the way up to good, and he just wants to tone it down back the way where it's balanced.
Yeah, well, Superman is so powerful. Yeah, Superman is so powerful that when he comes to that Earth, it's like he can feel that this one being can literally, disrupt the
Mhm.
entire planet if he wanted to. So I think just natural instinct is to eliminate that type of power. But I do like, it it is interesting how they don't go into it, how his atomic breath puts Superman down.
Yeah. So this issue ends where Shazam, Billy Batson, the captain, whatever you want to call him, shows up, and he's helping Superman fight Godzilla. And Superman gives him like the heat vision and everything. And then Billy calls down the lightning, and Billy goes falling, and Superman goes to grab Billy. And the final pages, he goes, Shazza. He doesn't finish saying it. And Godzilla hits Superman with his atomic breath completely. And the last panel is like Superman laying on the ground and Billy standing next to him. And I just kind of took it like, most of the time Godzilla represents radiation, and it's just basically Superman absorbed all of that radiation. Much like akin to we've seen in The Dark Knight Returns and BVS when the nuclear blast goes off. how he absorbs that radiation and what that does to him. That's how I took why the Godzilla's.
Yeah.
I don't yell at me for saying this, but I think Godzilla's a teeny bit stronger than Superman.
Well, he blindsided Superman. Superman
Yeah,
was saving
he was saving Billy, trying not to like have casualties. Godzilla just tearing stuff up.
But what if he was in his thermonuclear form? Now that
later.
what if he was in his evolved form?
Maybe.
Some people think that evolved Godzilla is stronger than thermonuclear. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's kind of same, but it's kind of.
For more Godzilla talk, check out Solomon's playlist podcast for Solo's World, formerly known as Godzilla's World. You can hear him talk all about Godzilla.
Nice.
Well, not anymore.
Well, now it's about whatever he wants, but we still
Go
got
to
more
the back
Godzilla
catalog,
talk.
and there's plenty of Godzilla talk.
Yeah, there'll always be Godzilla in this house.
I thought it was really cool how when they all kind of divided to go after the different titans that showed up. There's the crab Cthulhu monster
Scylla
that showed up at Iron Heights prison.
I love Flash, like this Cthulhu looking thing.
Yeah. Of course a bat type.
Yeah, shows up in Gotham.
To show up in Gotham, right?
I don't even know what that is.
I'm pretty sure that one's created for this book because Solomon and I have watched all the Godzilla the new MonsterVerse movies a lot.
Need to read the books.
And there's no we watched the anime thing that was on the Skull Island thing.
The Snar Hunter.
We watched the season of Monarch. I don't remember any bat looking thing.
I went to check out that. I have to find a place to watch that.
And then we have Behemoth, which is James's nickname on the weekends. Which is the big.
Is that the one with the tusks?
Yes.
Going after Themyscira?
Yes. Behemoth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like in the first book, there's a lot of cool dialogue though. And I told Solomon about how a lot of times in comics, your first couple of issues will be a lot of dialogue and setup, and then like in a crossover, your last issue or two is like just action. And we have Clark going to propose, and we have Diana thank him and says, how much he means to her, and they're happy for Clark. And you have the Flash and him have a heart to heart about when you know that you know that you know kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a different Earth because he hasn't even told Iris yet that he's the Flash.
He's the Flash. And then Hal the whole time just busting his chops about giving up his freedom.
Says yes.
Yeah. You're giving up your freedom, man. And
I think they wrote all of the characterizations really well in this
book. Oh, they did. Like it's a great book all around. And then there's that great between Bruce and Clark where, he's like, "Are you here to offer me a loan that you don't expect me to ever pay back?" And he's like,
Sheila.
Ah, yes. A beacon. So we have basically everyone starts to try to figure out that they're looking for the Dreamstone.
Yeah.
In issue 3, we have a great battle between Godzilla and Atom Smasher.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And
I love seeing him in there.
We have Green Arrow gets put on Skull Island because Skull Island is on our Earth. And we have Kara freak out because she realized she can't hear Superman's heartbeat. And I only had notes for the first 4 issues because of everything. But then as the story, there's a lot of really great just images of the monsters. I think the MonsterVerse characters are great, captured well as the DC world, where we find out that the League of Assassins are there on Skull Island.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Arrow tries to take them out. We have the introduction of Kong, and Grodd falls for Ape God.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But then you have Grodd use his telepathic powers to take over the mind of Kara
Because he has a
Kong.
kryptonite horn.
Yeah, I know. I was like a little frustrated. Okay,
That was weird but interesting. I was like, okay. I mean, when you set it in a different DC universe, you can kind of do a little bit of what you want. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that Kong's psychic abilities are linked to any horn or helmet. I think they're his.
yeah.
But I don't know, channeling it through a kryptonite horn, perhaps something like that.
Affects Kara.
Yeah. I loved when they're defending Atlantis from Tiamat, and
Yeah.
and then how Godzilla shows up to take on Tiamat, but they are destroying the dome, because in some iterations of the comics, Atlantis is underneath the dome.
Yeah, I thought that was
Um,
interesting bringing that back.
Yeah, and then how Hal was reinforcing the dome, and then just before he can't hold it anymore, you got Guy, Kyle, Jessica, and Simon all show up, and they reinforce the dome, and then Aquaman releases the Kraken to fight
Release the
Tiamat.
Kraken!
Yeah, to fight Tiamat and Godzilla. That was really cool. And then they lock him up. Then they lock up Godzilla with nth metal chains,
Yeah,
and Godzilla can't break them. I loved it. I thought that was really cool.
Flashlight. Did you really just release the Kraken? Like,
Yeah.
for real? Like, yes. And that's where Godzilla stays until like the last issue. So we got to take Godzilla off the board. But
Flash didn't say that. It's Green Lantern.
was it Green Lantern that said it?
Yeah.
Okay, Solomon corrected me.
Mm.
I thought it was the Flash, but no, it was Green Lantern.
Um,
So we have, Kong, and then like Green. Okay, so Green Arrow finds like a skull of a skull crawler, and like the League of Assassins has some of the skull crawlers, and we're building up to like the giant battle. And Batman, through the help of speedsters and tech, builds his own mech, because why not?
yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And
Because
Luthor builds Mecha Godzilla as basically a giant Lexo suit.
I love that he does control it with a Lexo suit. I thought that was really awesome. I really did. I loved how Kara and Kong had a stare-off contest.
And then she leaves and left Green Arrow to be like, hey, buddy. So we have Beast Boy shows up and tries to, friend Kong, but Kong knocks him out. And so we get to our main big battle at the end. And I have to talk about this because it's crazy, because we have everybody fighting, and Superman is being healed like in a chamber, and they don't think he's going to make it. And Lois is up there and she's talking with him, and she's trying to like revive him and get him to come out of like a coma. And Grodd murders somebody's in this book.
Yeah,
We've already talked about this character. Solomon, do you want to tell everybody who Grodd murders?
What was in the first book or the second?
No, it's right here in the issue.
It's in the final battle.
Oh, okay.
I think it's either issue 7 or 6.
All right. So,
You remember who it is?
yeah, I remember. So, Grodd murders a Green Lantern.
Oh no, a Green Lantern. I wonder which Green Lantern it is.
Yeah. Is it Hal? Is it Jessica?
Is it Kyle?
Is it Simon? No. It is a doofus himself, Guy Gardner.
It is Guy Gardner, who gets his face smashed by Grodd. And then in one of the coolest moves in comics that just doesn't last that long, it's almost a blink and you miss it. Kong gets the Green Lantern ring from Guy Gardner, and Kong is a lantern.
What? pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
And then once Grodd's, telepathy is broken, Beast Boy joins up with Kong side by side fighting. But it's like by the time, they're fighting the skull crawlers that are there and Mecha Godzilla,
Look how sweet that is.
it's like everything goes by so fast in the final issue. It's like I feel like you could have made it probably one more issue, because once they destroy Lex's Mecha Godzilla by ripping his arms off,
Yeah, and then basically Batman going.
Batman and his mech, and then don't forget that the Bat Wing turns into like a transformer that's being piloted by Red Hood and Robin.
And then Superman forcing Godzilla to fight the creature Skullcrawler thing, which we forgot because Ra's al Ghul put him in the thing that
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul puts everyone in, and
Lazarus Pit.
And basically Godzilla and Superman just
Team up and use atomic breath and heat vision on it.
Right.
And
then Kong comes in. I love how he creates his axe.
Yes.
From Hollow Earth. He creates his axe with the Green Lantern construct and just comes flying in and friggin' hits that skull crawler with it. And might I say, that skull crawler is huge. Like,
yeah,
there was no skull crawler in Kong Skull Island, because in Kong Skull Island he was still growing. He wasn't even as big as he gets in the later films. Yeah. And so, but the big skull crawler was only as big as he was then. So this skull crawler that they resurrect in this Lazarus Pit is massive. He's like Shima sized, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just huge. Like, so the beat for beat though, the way they direct the fighting and all of the confrontations in that final battle is really cool.
Yeah.
So when Superman was healed, he freed Godzilla and basically said, I understand what you are and who you are, and I want to get you to follow me to the final battle. This whole time, everybody's been looking for the Dreamstone and for Toyman. And what we find, Deadshot found Toyman's body, Deathstroke, sorry,
and Cheetah
body in a footprint of Godzilla. And what we find out is when Godzilla teleported there, he immediately stepped on Toyman, killing Toyman, and the Dreamstone's been stuck in his foot the whole time.
Well, what had happened was Toyman actually wished he could be closer and see the action up close. And the Dreamstone put him right in Godzilla's path. Because he was there and then he wasn't, is because he wished to be closer to the action. And he put him right in his path, and Godzilla stepped on him, and the Dreamstone was lodged in the bottom of Godzilla's foot this entire time.
Yeah. Even when he was in Atlantis fighting and everything, the Dreamstone was stuck in his foot.
And at the end, Kong gets his lantern ring off.
Yeah, his lantern ring goes away.
Which I kind of think was okay.
So the ending of this was kind of like the ending of Endgame, like Captain America's going to go return all the stones and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, we're going to return all the monsters with the Dreamstone, and everybody's gone. Everybody's back home.
We didn't mention where the Green Lanterns kind of made their own Green Lantern energy mech, was back to back with Batman's mech.
Yeah, that was kind of cool too.
So,
but they could only form a shield arm because Guy wasn't there.
Yeah, because Guy was dead. But it's a great read if you're a fan of the MonsterVerse and just DC Comics in general. Like, it's a nice, 6 issue. Like, I'm gonna buy the trade and have it 7 issue. That's right. I thought it was supposed to be 6, but they made it 7.
Yeah.
I think they could have done a whole 12 issue run, but. Yeah. I'm glad we have this nice little artifact of the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong for Solomon to continue to read.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say is we didn't get Godzilla versus Kong nowhere.
Yeah, there was no Titan on Titan really till the final battle. And
I mean, it's Godzilla versus Tiamat, and of course, the
yeah,
Kraken.
you're right.
And,
And the Kraken.
and Kong vs. Skull in the first
But-
issue. That basically killed.
But that was on Skull Island, though. I mean, like in our Earth here.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a good read, and I recommend it. And to get your superhero feel and your Godzilla feel.
Yeah. All seven are on the app.
And that's why we're doing it now.
Yep, I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for the trade. Jimmy's birthday is in November and Christmas is in December, so I'm gonna have that picked up and set aside.
Sounds good.
I want to get the trade for both of us, Dad.
I might have to
As I
buy
say, I might
copies,
have
right?
to buy 2 copies as well. I liked it too. It needs to be on my shelf, and he can have his own copy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how I feel. There's just some books that are like that. Well, Solo from Solo's World, thanks for joining us to talk about Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's good times. I'm exhausted from work, and James is too. You know.
I'm exhausted from today.
So tune in. Thanks for joining us here on Krypton Report. Let us know your thoughts if you're Team Godzilla or Team Kong, Team Justice League. Let us know. And remember,
Look up in the sky.
We want to thank you for checking out the Krypton Report podcast, and we ask you to check us out on all of our social media, on Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Hive, Threads, YouTube. We're everywhere. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, just send us a message and let us know.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
I am Brian Peters, the creator and host of Gravely Amusing. For the past 30 years, I've studied the history of gods and monsters in pop culture and our world. As a student of theology and history, I've tried to understand evil and its impact on us. As a writer, I've tried to share this knowledge. As a comedian, I've tried to make people laugh as I do it. But as a man-child, I'm still that scared 7-year-old boy. Join me as I share the history of horror and sci-fi, discuss classic and modern pop culture, and share a creepy story or two. This podcast may scare you, it may horrify you, or it may leave you gravely amused. Listen to Gravely Amusing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter at gravely_amusing or on TikTok at gravely amusing.
We have a $1 Patreon. Yes, I know everyone asks for money, but our $1 Patreon each month gets you commentary tracks for releasing movies, DC movies. It gets you my Requel series where I pitch ideas about movie sequels, prequels, or whatever. It also gets special bonus episodes. So check that out for $1 a month. That's all we ask. Keep it cheap, keep it simple, and help us keep going. Check out the link in the show notes or Patreon Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.